Each voice, whether soprano, alto, tenor, or bass, was important to the singing of the message. Each gave the interpretation of the song in its distinct and different character. The listener was able to identify their voice, and they could easily find their place in the story being sung without having to content themselves to sing in another voice. Each voice, then, is an invitation to its counterpart to participate in the story being sung. Each voice, each note, each pitch responds differently to the tune. Each adds a different flavor to the story being sung, yet each is called to blend together in a harmonic presentation. The result is a heard story that speaks to the heart, mind, and soul of the listener, whether the music is rhythm and blues, like we used to sing way back then, or it's urban contemporary, or it's classic rock, or it's metal or hip-hop, or it's hymns or anthems, spirituals or gospel, or southern gospel. Each voice is valued, and each voice has a part to play. The voice and range of octaves is a gift. So remember, if you have it, you ought to use it. Now there are hindrances to a woman's voice being included in the matrix of the leadership choir, even in the 21st century. The objections come from traditional roles and other objections that have nothing to do with gender, but with the power and the desire to sing solo or to hand-pick the voices in the choir. We're at the table now, but will our voices be heard, or will they be like a voice crying in the wilderness? There is no one to hear and no one willing to listen to the voice that's being lifted. Our voices add a sense of cohesive harmony to our human existence yesterday and today. Sometimes our voices express an unpopular opinion to some. John the Baptist lifted his voice about the coming of Christ, an unpopular voice. Galileo lifted his about the sun being the center of the universe, and former Vice President Al Gore lifted his voice about global warming. Mary Magdalene lifted her voice about the risen Christ. First Lady Michelle Obama lifted her voice about childhood obesity. Marion Wright Edelman lifted her voice on behalf of children. And the Honorable Ellen Johnson Sirleaf lifts her voice for freedom in war-torn Liberia. Oh, come on, somebody say amen. We too must lift our voices, whether they want us in the choir or not. Nzinga lifted her voice, and so did Queen of Go-Go, Jarena Lee, Amanda Berry Smith, Polly Mary, Marjorie Matthews, Millicent Hunter, Claudette Copeland, Susan Johnson Cook. But it was not without a struggle. All the struggle didn't end with the 13th Amendment to end slavery in America. It didn't end in 1964 with the Civil Rights Act. It didn't end with the Voters' Rights Act, nor did it end when Barack Obama was elected the President of the United States. It didn't end when women were finally given the ordination. It didn't end when the first woman was appointed to pastoral charge. It didn't end when a woman was elected a bishop. It ended denomination. The struggle continued. The struggle evolves with new names to old issues. Old enemies come back in new, different now behind the scenes. We are still in a struggle and must lift every, not just some, or a few hand-picked voices and sing, but we must lift every voice and sing. As James Weldon Johnson wrote, lift every voice and sing. Till earth and heaven break with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. So then what does it take to break through ordinary patterns of living, to challenge the cultural pecking order that are unfair, oppressive, or unjust, so that our voices can take their rightful place in the leadership choir and be heard? What does it take to push past entrenched practices that hinder growth? What does it take to grow beyond personal limitations and reach the destiny that God has called you for? What does it take to rise above dream dashers and hope snatchers and flame throwers? What does it take to be innovative when everybody wants everything to stay the same? What does it take to be creative without being misunderstood? What does it take to work in a complex organization that has complex forces at work to maintain the status quo, and you ain't a part of the status quo? What does it take to strive for excellence when it is viewed as a threat by everybody? What does it take to push for what other people consider an unpopular initiative? When people ask me that question, I usually respond this: it takes God, grace, and guts. When you find yourself in a position that you didn't get there by yourself, that's God. When you can't point to anyone helping you to get to that, that's God. When you cannot point to any set of circumstances that explains why and how you got to where you are right now, that's God. When you have made mistakes, and all of us have made mistakes in this room, and neither your enemies nor your friends can use them against you, that's grace. When your fear has finally got down on its knees and said in prayer and moved forward in spite of the obstacles in front of you, that's guts. Ordinary women and yes, ordinary men do extraordinary things every day. Their achievement didn't grow out of the degradation of enslavement. It grew out of a legacy of courage, grace, and guts, and dignity, and initiative, and resourcefulness, and brilliance. There is just no other way to explain how women who have been marginalized for centuries can rise like cream to the top unless God had God's hand in it. They didn't have the grace to take it, nor the guts to go ahead and do it. Let me ask you this. The text tells us about honeybee. Honeybee's vision of the world is shaped and molded by God and not by the political structure of the organization that she belongs to. Honeybee's vision was shaped and molded by God and not by the political situation of the day. Honeybee's title, position of wisdom, integrity, and all of her leader attributes were drawn from and enhanced by her relationship with God. His